Pepper Potpourri. I just want to tell you that this is a video series to help you decide if raising backyard chickens for egg production is right for you and your family. I'll also discuss all the things you need to consider to raise healthy egg layers. I really hope you enjoy the series. Okay, so you've been thinking really hard on maybe having some backyard chickens. Maybe it's because you want to know where your food comes from and what it eats before you eat it. And I'm talking about eggs. This is not raising chickens, no, for meat. Or maybe because of COVID-19 you found that the actual store's shelves didn't have eggs and you don't want to have that. So you are thinking about raising your own eggs. Oh, yeah, raising your own eggs. Well, there's some pros and cons to that. So let's discuss those. We're going to go through the cons first. Number one, zoning. Check your zoning for where you live. Do they allow backyard chickens? If so, how many do they allow? Do they allow only hens, no roosters? Do they have to be a certain distance from your house or from the road? Or do they just not allow any? You really got to find that out before you get your baby chicks. Number two, cost. You know, tan staffel. There ain't no such thing as a free lunch, right? It costs money to have chickens. Yes, it does. Oh, but are you worth it? You think so. Baby chicks can cost anywhere from $1.50 to $3, unless you are getting some very special chicks. You know, like something I'd love to have is the blue, the one that has the beautiful blue eggs, the cream leg bars. Those are much more expensive. And if you actually are going to wait and buy chicks that are ready to be layers, you can spend $20 or more for those because somebody's had to feed them for those 5 or 6 months. So there's cost, but that's really one of the smallest costs. Your largest cost is going to be in your chicken coop, your run, how you're keeping them. And that can be anywhere from you make it yourself from some lumber you have laying around, or you reuse some. I've seen children's playground equipment reused for it, or you buy it online, or you have someone build it for you. And then if you're buying it, it can probably be like $500 to $2,000 or more. Some of those chicken coops, yeah, they look like the Taj Mahal. So there is a cost. And of course, then you have your cost of your food, right? Every month. So there is a cost of those homegrown eggs. Smell. Yes. You know, the run, not the coop, but the run which these chickens are in, especially if it rains and then it gets hot, it can smell pretty bad. So you don't want, yes, I'm sorry, you do smell. You don't want to have it too close to your house. But also, maybe that smell will bother you or bother your neighbors. Okay, number four, what happens when you want to go on vacation? Who's going to take care of your chickens? They need fresh water every day and food, and someone needs to gather the eggs. Do you have backup so you can take a vacation if you need to? Number five, make sure nobody in your family is allergic to the dust and dander. Chickens do have danders and the dust, because if so, this might not be a good choice for you. Number six, care. Sometimes you got to get really up close and personal with a chicken. Before, I've had to put my hand up, you know where, to help get an egg out, okay? I have had to clean mud balls, that's what I call them, from their feet, and I'll show you a picture of that. And I have a video on it, and believe me, it takes a lot of time and it's not easy. And those are usually caused when one of our hens breaks an egg, they get their feet in it, and then that feet goes, yes, in the run, in the chicken poop, and in the soil and other things, and it becomes so hard. But anyway, there's care to a chicken. Are you willing to do that? And so when I'm talking about the care for chickens, you have to also think about cleaning out the coop, which you gotta do weekly, and the run. And believe me, that can be a real chore because these little critters poop a lot. So it's a lot of cleaning and it's not pleasant. Now I do deep cleaning in the chicken run, which means it's about 6 months or so. I'll be doing it in this month in May, and then probably not again till October. I completely clean out the entire chicken run, and boy, that is a job. And it is smelly, and you have sweat pouring down you, and you look down and you can't believe that you're actually doing what you're doing because of all the manure, and you never pictured yourself doing this when you thought about having a cute little backyard chicken. A chicken like this can live 8 to 10 years. Now, is she going to be laying eggs all that time? Oh, I wish she would. But every year your production goes down till at the end they really just don't lay any eggs. They don't have any more to lay. If you have a bantam, which is a smaller chicken, they live about 4 to 8 years. But what are you going to do when this chicken is no longer laying? You only have so much room in your coop. Are you going to call this hen, or are you going to have a nursing home for old hens? I have to admit, I probably will have that nursing home. The final reason why you should maybe not have backyard chickens, if you're concerned with avian flu or zoonotic disease, chickens have in other parts of the world, and some in the United States, got avian flu, which is type A, H1, is it N1? I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm sure you've seen pictures in China where a whole bunch of chickens are all being slaughtered because they have that. It could happen, especially if you free range. Usually they get it from migratory birds such as seabirds or ducks and geese. It's something to consider, but yes. I have never heard of anybody having a hen that's had that in my area, but it could happen. But anyway, those are some of the cons, and you really need to think about them before you invest in chickens, because we'll see people in the neighborhood get chickens, and then 2 years later, the coop is gone. They decided maybe it was just too much work. But there are reasons why you should consider having backyard chicken. Number one, egg quality. You can't beat home raised chickens and their eggs. I mean, when you open up the egg, the yolk is a bright orange, unlike a store-bought egg, which is kind of a medium yellow color. I mean, the yolk is just beautiful because it's rich. These chickens get out in their runs, and some of you might have free-range chickens, and they get plenty of vitamin D from that sunlight. And that gives you a much more nutritious egg. Plus, you know what you're feeding your chickens to lay those eggs. So you can be secure in your knowledge, yes, that they are raised totally organic, or however you do want to raise your eggs. Number two, I'm talking about manure here, specifically the chicken's poop. This is a standard hen, and it can produce 8 pounds of fertilizer per month. And that fertilizer, once you compost it, leave it out for at least 6 to 9 months before you use it in your garden, is a fantastic source of nitrogen for your garden and for your compost pile. Number three, if you do have a garden area and you want to naturally till it, you can use your chickens. They can till up to 50 square feet in 4 to 6 weeks. So there you have it. You don't have to use any machinery at all. Just this chicken and their digging. They're a natural tiller. Number four, bug control. They love to eat bugs, be it June bugs. They can even keep away scorpions and mice, and of course worms, and even mealworms. They just love their bugs. So if you want to have an area debugged, let your chicken free range or in one of those garden tractors. They can actually debug 120 square feet in just 1 week. Number five, chickens make a great 4-H project for your child, or even if they're not in 4-H, just a great way for them to learn responsibility for doing the chores and taking care of the chicken. And they get to hug them like this when they're done. 6. Guess what? A chicken is a natural garbage disposal. And instead of going into the compost, they might go into this live compost. You have to be careful what you feed them, but they even like weeds. So the final thing is, the chickens are rather fun. They're like natural little comedians. When you watch them run around, what they do when one steals a piece of weed from another one, whatever, they're a lot of fun to watch. So just for their antics alone, they make a great backyard pet. This is what makes it worthwhile to me every day. I open up my nest box and look at those beautiful and different colored eggs. We have almost a bluish one, a green, a light beige, medium beige, and dark beigeish brown. Aren't they beautiful? So I'd love to hear from you down below. Yes, you. Have you thought about raising chickens? If so, after watching this video, do you think you will? Or have you gotten chickens and wish you had and would have watched this video before you did? This is Prepper Potpourri. I'll have another video coming out shortly on how to select chickens for your backyard.